Welcome to Coaching in a Car. Today, I want to talk about coaching differences and counseling. Let me talk about counseling first. Counseling is like a more accepted term. Unfortunately, therapists, shrink, things like that have very negative connotations in our society. I'll just illustrate in the Vietnam era, nobody wanted to see a shrink. And it's so unfortunate. There was so much PTSD during that time, but yet psychology was still in its infancy. I feel so blessed to be in this realm in life where seeing a therapist, a psychologist, a counselor is actually a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. And it's so sad that that industry has gotten labeled, and especially for men, to show your feelings and emotions as being negative. Meanwhile, when we look back at American society, men that had to serve in like World War I, World War II, they didn't know what to call it. They labeled it as shell shock. And if you saw a therapist or seek counseling, you're seeing a quack or you're a quack. And it's like they acknowledged of like war and the impact and negatively how it impacted the men that served, but yet still, if you needed help, you were like labeled weak. Whereas in today's society, how much we've progressed, seeing a therapist is actually a sign of strength because you are brave enough to be vulnerable with somebody and you can share your feelings and emotions. So I'm not a therapist, not a psychologist, I'm not a counselor, but I am a doctor of organizational leadership, and I'm also a coach. With these two combos of my educations and my experience in the military, I will say that I can marry all three of them together and tie it into a really good cousin science to a type cousin of therapy, where as a coach, we look at everything that you're going through the past and then look at your present and then how to excel you into your future. We're looking at the now, we're looking at your future state, and we're also acknowledging areas of your past that is actually preventing you, creating these roadblocks for you to get forward. During coaching, every good coach, every qualified coach will talk to you during your initial onboarding process about the benefits of seeing an actual therapist, because we know that as you're getting coached, a lot of things in your past are going to come up. Things that coaches are not particularly licensed to address. We can acknowledge your past, but if we see it constantly coming up and creating these roadblocks, suggest you do a two-prong approach and see a coach while seeing a therapist. Every time I onboard somebody new, we discuss these options. In addition to, as well as, I've had a few clients that acknowledge, like, whoa, I have some deep-seated issues that we're uncovering in our coaching sessions that I didn't realize I had. And in the beginning, yes, you mentioned it to me, but I wasn't really thinking about getting therapy. But now as I'm going through this process with you, I'm realizing, ooh, I actually need some therapy. I want to say, empower yourself, go to therapy, get a coach. I myself am a coach who has a therapist and also who has coaches, because your mental state creates everything in your physical environment. It's just empowering to know that you have these resources at your fingertips.